look. 1,319,999,868. And that's a lot of nines.
I don't know, I can't.
You were bragging about when you just had not 7 nines. When you came, you were cocky, man. You came to high scores, you were like, oh, your score isn't as good as all nines. Go watch the video, man.
Would you rather? I said, would you rather have nines?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
We all decided we would. And now we have like over 1 billion of them.
You look beautiful, sweetheart.
I'm okay with not
You look
being.
beautiful, sweetheart. This is our daughter Journey, and I am here with Lonnie McDonald at High Scores Hayward. Hey, what's happening, Lonnie? We've spoke to you in the past. You've blown us away in the past. I think it was when?
June 2011.
Okay.
In the dark ages, when you
Different
still
times.
lived in New Jersey.
Different places.
In the hood.
How dangerous on a scale of 1 to Camden do you think the first location was?
Well, I had food with me and I got mugged going from my truck to your front door, which was like 4 feet. No, I'm just kidding. No, it wasn't that scary, but it was scary.
Well, welcome to beautiful California. I mean, it's
Much different now.
welcome to beautiful California, but you've been all over the country, as the viewers
Your wife
probably
even has
know.
a tan. Yeah, so
She does.
Can't help it.
she does.
She also has a bump.
She was afraid to get
Son
out
of
of
a
New
baby.
Jersey, so she didn't have a tan.
And you're part of the U.S. national video team.
That's true. That's true. We are part of the U.S. national video game team now. So,
So what does that mean?
well, we're cool. That's why. No,
Obvious.
no. Tim McVeigh, which you have Snake versus
Yeah,
Snake back there.
we like
and,
that.
Scott Patterson and some of the other guys from the past team are involved, and they asked me to be an ambassador of gaming also.
Awesome.
Tim McVeigh from Man vs. Snake
Yeah,
with the
that's
Nibbler
good.
record, yeah.
Yeah.
Some pride at that
Scott
movie.
Patterson and Tim own it, and then Jeff Peters and Martin, and I'm gonna miss somebody. I just got all their shirts and sent them out to them, so I'll miss somebody's name.
Well, you've been driving for miles and miles for days and days, so
I
we'll
drove
forgive you.
from Kansas City to Denver. Decided to have truck problems in Denver to the tune of almost $800. Then I played in hyperspace. I was going to play outside of Reno, and I had to cut that leg out because I'm on time. I have to be in Vegas the 6th.
Well, thanks for making us a priority.
Absolutely had to be.
Hey man, I was excited when we met you over 5 years ago over in Jersey, and you were one of the first, I don't think you were the first, I don't know if you were the first, but you were one of the first champion gamers to
I
come
think
down
so, yeah.
and really knock the pants off of a machine, like really like turn it out, turn it over and beat it,
We
yeah.
had some people went in and they played for like an hour, and I told you that wasn't a real
We thought it was.
That was
Yeah.
a real game.
So since then, you made a mission, basically, from as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Lonnie McDonald has gone all over the country, and initially your goal was 100 machines, 100 days that you would play
100
joust.
machines in 100 weeks, 1 billion points.
Okay, 100 machines, 100 weeks, billion points. And that was from 2011 till when?
To May 2013, exactly 2 years, 100 weeks, 2 years.
And so you did it.
And so now you've upped the ante,
The
right?
last machine officially done in that tour was at the Williams Building, and we had Python Angelo, the artist. We had John Newcomer, the developer. We had William Futzenberg, the programmer, and we had Walter Day,
Awesome.
who started Twin Galaxies after a conversation with Williams, and he had never been to Williams. And we had Roger Sharp, the MC of the event, the guy who saved it. So we had this all-star cast of people there. Mark Hoff was the historian for the event, and it was pretty cool.
And the whole goal was you were doing filling the machines up with 9, so you were taking it to the point right before it rolled over. So 9, how many 9s?
It's 7 nines, 9,999,999 times 100. And now it's times
132.
Which is how much? How many
Is
nines
a billion? Wait, tell me the figure again. What is it? No? Don't tell me what it is. Tell me what I'm multiplying in my head here.
132 times 999 times 7 nines.
132 times 7, 9. And look, 1,319,999,868. And And that's a lot of 9s.
I don't know. I can't.
You were bragging about when you just had not 7 9s. When you came, you were cocky, man. You came to high scores, you were like, oh, your score isn't as good as all 9s. Go watch the video, man.
Would you rather? I said, would you rather have 9s?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
We all decided we would. And now we have like over 1 billion of them.
So the whole thing is, you initially started out on this quest. When we spoke to you first, I remember the day we spoke to you, your goal wasn't necessarily at that moment when you came to high scores in 2011. It wasn't necessarily at that time to do 100 machines, 100 weeks, 1 billion points. It was something else, because you were even talking about possibly coming and maybe marathoning the machine. So you decided on that. What made you pick that goal?
Because nobody's ever done it.
Okay.
You know, it's interesting when you talk to people, they want to follow, they want to do what somebody else has done. And as I looked at it, I wanted to do what nobody else had done. And as it started to evolve, I looked at the arcade list, and there were like 37 locations that had a joust machine on it. I said, I can get to all those. And I said, I thought that would be something unique. And then as it progressed, more and more people were telling me about joust machines, or calling me about joust machines, or saying there's a joust machine here. Can you come and play this joust machine? And we finally thought, well, what's an ending number? What's the end game? And so we settled on 100 weeks, 100 machines, 1 billion points.
And you did that before you even found the 100 machines.
That is correct.
Okay.
We were at 75 at that point.
And I remember the vibe when you came out. It was almost like at the time I met you and you came out, it was, I think we were the second location. We were the second location, and I remember at that time.
First official location.
First official location, and I remember at that time it's like you were kind of, the spirit of it is I think you just turned 50.
Yeah.
You just turned 50. I remember being real impressed. I'm a young guy. You roll up in some classic car that I don't remember, and then you come in
A Range Rover, I think,
with a
probably.
VCR-sized box filled with snacks and 5-hour energies.
I didn't know what it was going to take.
Yeah, no. I said, hey, why do you got so many snacks? Why not just bring some Twizzlers? You're like, well, I don't know mid-game what I'm gonna want.
That's right. So I just had a vast run. Now I come in with a bottle of water in 4 seconds. I've got it down to that.
All right, well, at least you got the formula. So after you hit the 100, what made you want to expand even further and set the goal up to every single state in the country?
Well, we got done with the 100 machines. It was. I look back at this. I took a year off and I got went for a pinball world ranking, and I got to the top 1%. And I was like, I so liked the environment of video games better than pinball. I mean,
I feel that way too.
It's. And I don't want to go into things that make me unhappy about some of the collectors in pinball and some of the competitors in pinball. I mean, there are a lot that I like.
Hey, everybody. So back in the days, like, you used to be able to, you had a buddy who was in it, so you'd be able to just go to the arcade and practice for hours and hours.
Yeah, we just go down and practice. And that was his game too. He was a joust player. So
And what demographic of people, like, once you hit those goals, you played 24 hours, who knew about it? Because you didn't have the internet and there wasn't this.
Just the people who were there. Just the people who saw it. Newspaper didn't come out and cover it.
So you were almost literally doing it for yourself and like a couple other buddies.
Well, I did it for $100. It was $100 bet.
Oh, okay.
So it
All
was
right,
about money. It was about money,
Gotcha.
And in 1982, that was a lot of money.
And that's why I don't have the fancy car.
Just watching that.
Thanks for the
crush.
Thanks for the monkey, man. She's loved her birthday today. But yeah, man, we're really impressed with everything we've seen you do since we interviewed you last. Because we saw you were a good player the first time we interviewed you, but it seems like since then, in the 5-year time that's passed, you've just kicked the joust world.
So much better. But when you play hundreds of times, literally, I can watch the machine run and tell you what ROM is playing. Whether it's green, whether it's red. And there are some places I played that are so precise, people will watch me. I mean, I've had people watch the almost 1 million points I did on one man, or like it being a master class of playing joust. And you have to be really, really precise.
Well, I mean, the thing is too is.
But I also found that a lot of people would say, well, this is the hardest way. Wave 33 is the hardest way. I just looked at it. So that's a mental thing. I said, every wave is the hardest way. It's the way you die. You have to figure out how to get past that wave. And so that was always my goal, is how do you get through this wave to the next wave? And,
that translates into a lot of different types of games too, because like even in like Donkey Kong, like I feel like the barrel boards are the ones that kill me off, and a lot of people, the elevator
so
stages.
that's where you die, because you think that's the hardest.
Yeah, and it intimidates you to the point where, so like when you do something like this, and I know this from firsthand experience, and I know a lot of gamers do, those of us that aren't masters, once we master a certain level of a game or to a certain point, you know, you feel a lot differently about it. You know what I mean? And that intimidation starts to fall away when you play, and it becomes more of like a in the zone kind of a thing.
Well, I think the wisest thing that was told to me after when I started to pick it back up, Steve Sanders said, so I'm going to give him credit for this. He goes, when you're practicing, if you have access to a machine, he goes, turn your free man to a point where you never die. You get the ability to play past something without fear. And so that's what I did, is I just turned it to a point where when I was practicing, that I could always get past where I wanted to get past.
You realize you're competing now with a lot of people, or you know, not just you personally, but everybody's competing now with people that are studying YouTube videos and going on forums and reading, listing out the tips of how you do every little thing to maximize your amount of points. And that's not how that happened back in the day, man.
If you came over and you tried to get tips from somebody where we were playing, you'd probably get burned by a or something. It wasn't quite as bad as New Jersey, but it was close.
Yeah. So well, it was also competitive in a way where people weren't sharing information. It was like exclusive, like that's your technique. You know what I mean? And I think that's the kind of, not to use an inappropriate word, but kind of like a more romantic way of doing it in a way that's like, you know, more heroic kind of.
There are places where I play that most people don't play. A lot of times people play like Kevin Ford's. You play. A lot of people will play here, or they'll play here, and they try to fly around a lot. If you fly around a lot, you die a lot. And I'll play here, and I always play here. If you look from here to here, and here to here, this is a lot shorter distance.
To make the protection, yeah.
From a protection standpoint, or to be able to turn around, and I can turn around so quickly here that I can get these guys coming down and kill them. I can get these guys coming over here and kill them. I can take this guy if he comes out that way, make him bounce down around and up here. And that's a place I choose to play. I choose to play the same places all the time, so I get a consistency of what I'm doing. And
so there's just little variables in like your own human movement that change the way that the direction goes.
Exactly. A lot of the other players, they'll play like here, or they'll fly all over the place. And I'm like, just if you go and play a long time, play safe. Play safe. Make them come down to you. It's a game of physics. See how they all have to come down to you? If you fly around, you have 7 or 8 or 10 things flying around you. You're
much more vulnerable.
You're trying to compute what's out there. And so my phrase is, flying is dying.
Okay.
If you're flying, you're dying.
Well, yeah, no, it makes sense. Unfortunately, as the game changes and the boards transform, like later down the line, it starts to get difficult. I was taught once, and my highest score in Joust is just over 400,000, and that's not very good, but I was doing that back in like 2006 or 7 when we first got our first machine in our apartment. And the strategy I was using was I was staying right underneath these ledges, so anybody that flew under there, I could always kind of be as close to the top as possible. And then I would stay up here as often as possible. And I'm not a great player, but I became a little better than I was before I started playing that way.
The challenge when you play up here is all of these guys. The Shadow Lords can do this, and you can't outfly them. The gray guys.
So they can kind of get on top of you.
You can never get out of it. And once you start playing on top, they all can outfly you on top. That's why the best thing to play is always them coming down with an angle too.
One thing to quickly pick your brain too is, and I know this is 101 stuff, but what's your biggest piece of advice when it comes to dealing with the unbeatable pterodactyls?
Pterodactyl mouth open, 3 pixels, closed 1 pixel.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Go, because I was taught like to stand in like certain spots. And
pterodactyl mouth open, 3 pixels, closed 1 pixel. Okay, you'll find like here, they're pterodactyl waves. It says unbeatable pterodactyl. If you're on the ledge, stand to the right of the middle of the ledge.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever direction he comes out, kill him. And if there's 2, you just turn around. The other place you're standing is here. Like it would be the 100,000 mark. So there's right about here. If you're standing between 100,000 and 1,000,000, you're fine whether they come from this direction or that direction. Either way, you can kill them.
Okay, that's a good beginner. So,
every time.
So the last question. I mean, so
no pterodactyl cheats.
So do you plan on trying to go for like the world? Do you have the world record in Joust?
I have the emulator world record. I have the first man world record. I have the doubles world record. I'm not going to go the doubles marathon world record. I won't go after the doubles tournament setting record unless Steve Sanders and his son lose it. You know,
Okay.
that's kind of a courtesy thing.
Yeah, no, and I understand.
Now,
That's
the
mad
marathon-
cool they did
the,
that.
The marathon world record, I tried to get the marathon world record arcade because they're different platforms. Right?
Yeah, you got MAME and then you got the. I always kind of look first to the arcade record,
Right.
but
So the arcade marathon record, I went after that in May of 2013, and I played 50 hours.
I'm just gonna make sure we're still good. Yeah, we are good.
50 hours, and I was 52 years old. I'm the only person over 50 to play over 50 hours.
Sheesh, man, it's a long time, man. I mean, I was keeping.
And I needed to go 4 more hours to get the record.
Oh, so you couldn't go those 4 hours? Is that what happened?
I got paranoid, and then I lost all my man. It was like I
Or
thought.
you worried that something was gonna happen with like your health or something, or what?
No, I
Because
thought
you were
I
staying
thought,
awake.
I thought they were doing things they weren't doing, and I got really paranoid. I started bleeding.
Yeah, like-
I started bleeding guys, and it was like, you know, it was
Yeah.
like, and here was my paranoid thought: they're trying to get me.
Jesus.
Duh, they are.
Yeah, man.
But I got this real paranoid thing. It's like, if I don't get pixel perfect here, they're gonna kill me. And it was like I never really gone through, you know, that kind of paranoia.
I think that like.
And then I played it back afterwards. The machine did exactly what it always did every single time.
So it was just all in your head. I think that a lot of people that play games, like the modern games, they do go on these gaming binges, or they play 50 hours. Like the difference is, I think that a lot of people don't realize when you're doing these marathon games, the part of mental, the challenge to your mind and your state of mind is so great that it probably becomes as great or greater sometimes than the actual challenge of the video game or what's going on in your
You have
head.
to stay asleep. You have to stay awake. Your bathroom breaks equal dying. You know, wash your face equals dying. You know, everything that you do, 7 seconds, every 7 seconds you die.
And you're committed to that for like potentially 2 days straight or longer.
Or longer, longer to get most of the big records.
Does it come to a point where you don't think you'll like where age matters, man? I mean, like I know for me personally, age matters a little in stuff I do, but it's mostly the physical stuff, you know.
At 52, the run I made, I was in pretty good shape.
Okay.
Now, I want to make another run at it before I get too old, because you know I'm 55 now, and I doubt that I'd make a run when I was 60. I don't know what kind of shape I'm in. But I think I can go 55 hours or longer. It's just, do I have the time to do it? Because I run businesses too, so it's like I have to carve out this amount of time where nobody can bother me.
It's a hard balance, probably, man. Like taking something like this seriously enough to be good at it, but then at the same time not forgetting that you've got other actual real life things that you got.
I have other responsibilities, like my wife calling me and asking if there's water in the house or something. I don't know, you know, things that have priority.
It's hard, probably, because you have to take this seriously enough to be good at it, but then at the same time you have to be able to step back, right?
There's no pause button. All these people who go on these binge gaming.
Yeah, they go and get it.
Pause, go to the bathroom.
Go and make a taco, yeah.
Took an hour nap. That's not gaming.
Yeah, it's a different scene, man.
I played 124 hours. Really? How much sleep did you have in that 124 hours? 72. Oh, okay.
Well, it's more of, in my opinion, about the modern gaming, it's more of a cushy area of competition, meaning, okay, for example, I'm a teacher by trade, I don't teach anymore, but when I was teaching, one of the most popular games on PlayStation was Call of Duty. Everybody's heard of it, right? So my students, I'd go on there, high school students, and I'd put on the thing and play, hey, Mr. L's playing, I play to have some rapport with him, you know, that helped me. It helped me in the classroom to do that stuff. But I'm not very good at it because I don't like those kind of military shooting games. I can play them because I'm young enough to have grown up with some of them, but I don't like them. But even though I'm not that great at them and I don't like them, every once in a while I'd still beat the best guy. But even though I've clocked in at least 100 hours in my time on Joust, I'll never beat you. You understand? So it's kind of like, the difference here is like, you know, a person that's an amateur could go in and every once in a while beat a pro. But in this realm of gaming, I mean, I think you could probably agree that that's not what's going to happen, man. You can bet money on it.
There are probably a handful of people that are so good at jumps that they could probably go after that world record.
Okay.
I mean, it's if you're scoring 2 million an hour, the original one, you know, the guy played it 67 hours, and then someplace in there, you know, the machine broke down, he had sleep, and you know, it was a competition, and they ruled that it was okay to add the score together, so we started over at the easier level. So I'm like, in my mind, I don't really count that one. But John McAllister went after it and did it just under 55 hours. Well, there's a guy who plays similar to what I play, you know, very, very aggressive, a couple million points an hour or more. And when I was going in 2013 when I was going after it, I was blistering it. I was scoring 2.5 million points an hour. I mean, it was going to fall. Had I not gone through a cycle of about 5 hours where I just couldn't do anything mentally, I would have taken that record down.
It's kind of cool because you're challenging yourself, like you're literally pushing yourself to the limits of what you're capable of because you're trying to do your best at something that's a defined activity.
No doubt, and no doubt 20 years earlier I would have been much better prepared to do something like that mentally and physically because it's physical too. You know, setting around, you know, at my age I have arthritis and, you know, setting for a long time, then you get up on your knees like frozen in place. And,
yeah, man. I'm starting to notice it. I'm like 40 now, and so 6 or 7 years ago, I didn't feel this way. Like I'm starting to notice those little creaks, man, and it's not a good feeling, man.
They only get worse, you know. And so most of these guys, you know, John Salters, and there was some case, a good guy. We were chatting at one point, and he goes, "Oh, you know, I want to do what you're doing." And I told John, I said, "No, you don't." I said, "You need to be an original." I said, "Go out and cut your own path." I said, "You don't want to do what I'm doing." And he told me one point, he says, "I thought you were being really stuffy or arrogant or something." He goes, and then later I realized I was doing what I wanted to do. And he went out and he now has the highest amount of time ever spent playing a video game. John Salter.
I think this can be really therapeutic,
and I said, "I'll take, you know, anytime you get credit, John, I want you to send me money." John, where's my money at?
Well, I mean, that's a gift, man. I think that it's cool, man. It's therapeutic. I think if somebody sets a goal like that for themselves, I mean, I think that once you're so focused on something, especially like if you're trying to work through something, or if you need a little bit of, you know, self-reassurance, or you want to develop some, you know, actually set a goal for yourself and accomplishment. I think this is like a great way to do that. You know, in a world where we might not be like hunting for food and stuff like that, I think this kind of thing really, at any age, I don't care if you're 60 or even 70, man, if you can go out and set those goals and meet them, it's something that's personally rewarding, at least for me, man.
Yeah, and you know, having the world records, it was interesting, Sean. When I was traveling and doing all those things, people keep going, "When are you going for the world record? When are you going for the world record marathon?" You know, because it would be like 10 million, 3 10 millions at one side. You know, it would be like, you know, 3 10, you know, like 5 10 millions in 5 days. You know, it was like, in reality, I was getting myself conditioned to be ready, right? But I was also doing what I wanted to do, not what people wanted me to do. Because the marathon record really, I didn't think in my age that was something where I wanted to sit down and play 60 hours.
I'm going to make a prediction. And I'm almost always right. I almost guarantee that in the next 5 years that I turn on the internet one day and I see that you've achieved
this.
Yeah, you've achieved this.
I think I'm gonna make a run at it. I'm getting back in shape for it. So 30 machines since then, so I'm getting back in shape.
One last question. So if you were ever to move on from anything besides joust, like if you ever say, so you won the marathon, you're not tired of it, but you've done everything you can do with joust. Could you name one other game that you would go after for this level of mastery? Just one. Anything else out there?
It won't be pinball. I enjoy pinball.
No, we're talking arcade video games, man. You know, nerds from Silicon Valley and Japanese people, man.
The challenge, the only other game I like that well is Black Tiger, and the challenge is it has an end.
Yeah, so you can. It's a finite kind of deal.
So you have to do it like you do Donkey Kong or something like that. You have to point press all the way through, and I see the total that's on it is far more than I ever attempted to do when I played it. You know, my total was a million something, and I see the high score, and it's like 2 million. I'm like, how did they get 2 million points in this game? I've never sat down and figure out how they got 2 million points.
I have a friend who plays Marble Madness, Gary Heller, and he's kind of discussing how it's just a short game that he's looking at other scores that other people reportedly have done. And he's like, how do you even squeeze those points out of it? Yeah. Because you got to know something. Same thing with Donkey Kong.
Triforce has the record on.
He's a black dude. Yeah. He wears a glove or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He has the record on.
I saw him playing versus Super Mario Brothers once, which was odd for like an arcade competitive game, but I guess not because he's doing it for speed or points or something like that. So, one favor I want to ask you. So I'm in a conundrum now because I want to play. I've got a multicade at home. I own a lot of the games that I have the multicade for somewhere. I want something to sink my teeth into. The games I like are Tron, and not these games. I like Tron. I like Donkey Kong a whole lot. I like Ladybug a whole lot. I can play Miss Pac-Man pretty well. I like Burger Time. But I'm telling you that these games that I like because I want to give you an idea of what my tastes are. I want you to assign me a game. And it can be a weird game. It can be something like Rockola Eyes. One game to master, and I want you to assign it. And I want to make you proud, Lonnie, because I've fallen all the way. I've fallen all the way off. I've been buying games, trying to help restore games, run arcades, and I haven't done a damn thing in terms of really improving my skills in all these years.
What I want to see you do is get 1,000,000 points on Joust.
Get 1,000,000 points on Joust?
Yeah, 1,000,000 points on Joust.
Jesus, man, you're not going to make this easy, are you?
1,000,000 points on Joust is a difficult task because you have to commit to being in control all the time. Once you start flying around, you're going to die, and you have to have a lot of patience on on default settings.
Wait. We're talking the 4-hour game you just played, 4.5-hour game you just played? All right, I can already tell you it's not going to happen.
No, 1,000,000 points.
Give me something. You've already conquered this. This is the girl that's been in, she's been in every back seat in town, man.
All right, so you don't want to play Joust.
I want to play a game that nobody else like. So no, I don't want to know. I don't want to play a game.
I have to think what a good score is.
And I'm not talking about.
How about Gorf?
I guess I could do Gorf, but then I think of Todd Rogers, the fan by the game and stuff. All these games have been trampled all over by people. You're the Joust trampler, man. So I can't, So I can't.
Well, you can't be Tron either because you have David Cruz and all sorts of.
Isn't there anything out there? Is there like how about Arabian? Does anybody have a damn score on Arabian? I own an Arabian.
I don't know. I saw the Arabian back there.
I have a food fight, man. Has anybody got a high score?
Sure, there's a high score on everything. The question is how well is it known.
Yeah.
And then there are just games where you're just like, if I could get this score, that'd be a good, you feel good about yourself if you can just get a score. That's why you said you got 400,000 on Joust.
It's just beginning. Yeah.
Well,
it was hard to get to for me, man. I mean, I started off by dying at 50, dying at 60, dying at 120.
That's the reason I said 1,000,000 points on Joust.
Hey man, well I want to thank you for coming out to California, man. I mean, you're one of the most respected gamers that we know personally. We know a lot of gamers, you know what I mean? We know a lot of gamers who've got like world records and have played seriously. And you're one of our favorite gamers, not just for your gaming skills, but your personality and like what you bring to the hobby and how you inspire people. So thanks for doing what you do, man. And I encourage you, man, to keep that journey going, man.
No, talking about journey, you realize how that happens, right? It's the water. You stop drinking water and drink Kool-Aid instead, and we'll have some of the kids. I'm just kidding.